Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Cyclops Athlete Gaming versus Talon, our third matchup of this penultimate Playday in Stage 2 of the 2021 competitive season of APAC North. Cyclops v Talon, welcome back. I'm Milos. This is...
Well, no, this isn't it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Desert Shoe, Desert Gating, all day, every day.
There's Napoleon we've gone for.
That's a terrible...
It's
we'll have to workshop
That's the idea.
that.
So's this.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to be as cringe as possible.
You have... I mean, Des without the things.
Yeah.
But you look wonderful.
You do look great.
And he's been wearing it for the past 4 hours, by the way, so he definitely enjoyed
Honestly,
it.
I've had to drop the... These had to come off, the little feet thingies that you get.
He's not wearing his horse back to the apartment today.
This is the weird... I don't think Napoleon would have wore socks like this, I won't lie. I won't show my feet on stream, but...
Please don't.
No,
That's
we don't
different category of broadcasting.
Woo.
Just on the other side as well, we're looking normal, which is cool.
Oh, look, I took my sash off because, unfortunately, I'm a tiny person and it just kept falling off. So I just have put it here for everyone. But I have a little surprise waiting later on just in case things go a certain way.
A pot in the bubbly. Down in it. She will, on stream, live.
I'm pulling a shoey,
Let's go.
finally.
Oh, I'll provide the shoe if you want, after it's on these feet.
I'm going to vomit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue on as Jess has already had her photo for the French government here after the start of our show. It's Cyclops versus Talon, and we're going to go with our rosters first with Cyclops Athlete Gaming, who are a team that are pretty good. Here's my analysis.
All right.
I think maybe you're sort of underrepresenting how good they are. They are undefeated at the moment. They had that scary little run-in with Fab where they were both undefeated for that period of time, and then finally they went head-to-head and it decided who was really, truly going to be the top dog. And as we all guessed at the beginning of the season when we saw that little bit of slump from C9 after the Invitational, CAG have come out with a storm. There is not a singular player on that roster in front of your eyes that is below a positive rating. There is nothing that seemingly can stop them, and they are playing one of the most innovative compositional lineups on both attack and defense that currently exists in any single meta that we have analyzed in EUL or APAC North. I would dare say maybe against Oceania and LATAM, it would be almost the world. I would have to do a global analysis, but I'm almost certain the kind of range of compositions they've been taking is not outdone by any other region at the moment, which is amazing. They themselves are setting the pace, and they are doing so in an undefeated fashion.
As a fragger, Gator 5 Playday, 60 kills.
The man's on fire.
That is absolutely incredible. Now, their opponents on the other side are Talon. They're no slouches themselves right now in Korea, who, at least in my mind, are #1 in KR. But Damwon Gaming is really gaining up, and currently, it's a close battle between them.
Talon are one of those teams that when you look across the roster, they're all really closely aligned in rating, which shows it's not like a 1- or 2-man effort that you get in a few other teams. It is a cohesive team effort, but the battle I think they're finding right now is some weeks they look on fire, like they could break into that top 4 and be a serious contender. Other days they come in and they're messing up really simple things, like one-dimensional pushes on Clubhouse last week was the greatest example that I've got when they faced off against Damwon Kia. In the previous week against T1, absolute screamer of a game against T1. It's very on and off for them right now, as you kind of see by the lineups or the games that they played on the right-hand side. I just worry that it's in the making, but it's not quite there right now that's going to get them into the top 4. But stage 3 is where I'm really excited to see, where now they've got the kind of flickers of brilliance that you look for in teams like this. Give them a bit more time. What can they become then?
No, with Talon, which flap of the wings is...
Is it the up or the down? Exactly. Right now it's the down. To go up real high is the idea.
No, you have to pull it, down to go up.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I mean. So right now they're on the upswing and then down to press themselves up.
I've taken physics
You know how
at
birds
university.
work, right? Come on. You've seen a bird fly, I assume.
I don't think birds are real.
Fantastic.
That's what Medics tells me. On that note, which 2 players have been selected for our head-to-head? It's 1 player out of each one of these 2 teams, so I'm very curious as always. A-Getter and Soldier.
Yes.
Why?
Well, I mean, look at the ratings right there on the left for iGate is the first one to look at. Second rated in the whole competition right now, both for rating and KD. He is in second place, so he is absolutely on fire right now. As you touched on, 60 kills across 5 games is no easy feat. On the other side for Soldier, the big difference between these two that I really wanted to bring to light was consistency. iGator has been good week on week. Soldier, 1 week is 0 and 8, the next is 12 and 5, the next is 1 and 7. It's a very up-down level of performance, and when they're filling a very similar role today, you need to see the right kind of Soldier turn up, and that to me really screams the difference between these two teams. One is consistent, the other has moments of brilliance but hasn't been able to repeat it week to week. And I'm sure Jess kind of thinks the same looking at those numbers. Consistency is what we need to see.
We really criticised him when he first joined the roster as well, because he came in as one of those flex frags. I remember him very vividly having one of those games where he showed flashes of greatness on Coastline, playing on the Buck, and that's a hard role to fulfill because there's a lot of things you need to do. You also need to frag out, and then let's hope you can be there for the plan. So I didn't really want to criticise him too much, and I did think that he needed a bit of time. He's had that time. He's now putting on what I would say is on par average performance, and that's just over the span. However, he's very up and down per game, so that's the only reason he's sort of bumping around.
Our map for this series, 7 maps in our pool. 6 are gone and 1 is left, and which will it be is the question always. It's Cafe Dostoyevsky. Chalet banned out by Cyclops. Talon removing Clubhouse before it, and Talon selecting defense as their starting cafe. That's what they get on offer here, and Cyclops starting on attack. So what's the take? Our lobby's ready. Clean it up.
Look, honestly, if you remember back to Six Invitational, you remember Cyclops on Cafe, and I can't remember who it was against, but they absolutely...
Empire and G2.
There you go. They absolutely swept the floor with them before they could even get out of spawn. Again, we haven't seen that because they've changed their play style because they're a little bit focused on their regional league. I'll give them that. Play however you want, but I would love to see that Six Invitational CAG on Cafe again.
For Talon, this is a really popular map for them. Banned away against them a lot. They barely ban it. I think back to the old days of this team when they'd have then called PMW and Tomorrow running around on Blackbeard and Nash, just fragging the hell out of the map. This is a comfortable map for them. But as Jess said, you're coming in against arguably one of Cyclops' strongest performances that we saw at SI against 2 big European teams. They're no rollover on this map. Neither team is. It's going to be a good showdown, I think.
I definitely hope so then. Jess, Des, thank you so very much. Let's see if the starting sides will have an impact. Maybe they will help Talon here against Cyclops to start off on the attack. It's Cafe Dostoyevsky. It is snowy Moscow, and we have M and Hap to take us through it. Enjoy.
Thank you so very much, Milos. And yes, we are going to Cafe. It is not going to be another Oregon that Cyclops was allowed to play twice in a row. Got very close the last time around, and now they've decided the next map is up for grabs. And we are going to Cafe. A map, as mentioned to on the desk, where really the true colors of Cyclops started to show. Against Empire, they were able to stall and waste so much of that time, really bringing the battle to the outsides of the map. Now, we might not see exactly that here. The Cyclops, of course, does run very unorthodox styles.
That's a way of putting it.
Of compositions, which for them seem to work. Sometimes, for the newer viewers, if you do not know who Cyclops is, these guys play the most fun Siege you'll see in any competitive...
Good luck, have fun, observer.
This is another way.
Aww. I think it's
I don't know if this
now.
is... yeah, but I don't know if this is a threat, as in, like, we'll do some crazy stuff, good luck trying to find it, or if it's, like, a genuine good luck, have fun, or both.
I think it's genuine. I think they've got a lot of love to give. They were... This is, like, one of those things which is a behind the scenes, I guess, of SI. Because when we were doing the spiel before a game, we could see the game feed and we could see the conversations that would happen between the two teams. And the joy that Cyclops would bring to a pre-game lobby was consistent.
They have
and
so
high.
much fun playing Siege, honestly. Like in the pre-game, they're just having fun. There's setups, as we've seen during APAC North, are just to have fun. And to continue my story, for those who haven't watched Cyclops yet, these are the teams, or this is the team that is of such high quality in APAC North that you can almost say get away with running the non-meta strategy. You see Every now and then you see Kavera to be brought out. You see suddenly a composition which is Frost, Ella, Capcan, Legion, and you know, a Rooney, for example, where there is no Heart Breach denial, no, just traps only. Like, these guys will run whatever they feel like is the right thing to run in that case, and sometimes that even includes dropping the diffuser in spawn and just going for a full-on execute and winning it. And they get away with it, and that's the beautiful part. Like, it is probably very frustrating to play against these guys because they're just so good.
Vigil was the last removal there. They spent a lot of time thinking about what they wanted to limit, and I suppose it's that wide play that Cyclops can sort of offer themselves here. They've instantly locked themselves in on something that can be quick. You see that terrifying run of last Playdays in the top left.
Yeah.
That is a lot of W's. That's a lot of dubs for Cyclops, and they've fought and they've deserved it. There's a bit bait and play and change there. The Ying to the Monty, two operators that they're more than happy to utilize on both. But the Monty, if anything, is a little bit synonymous with this team, especially in the hands of Anaton.
Yeah, definitely so. And it doesn't see enough bans, in my opinion. There's an easier way to shut them down a little bit. See Flores ban coming out. I'm not sure. Sure, they'll use Flores if they get the opportunity to in Cyclops, but I don't think it will be their signature operator in that case. Like to play this weird stuff every now and then, which just is refreshing to some extent. Like, it's not the same good old strategies, it's not the same good old takes that you would expect to see. For example, Oregon, we've casted it 5 times last week. The time that Cyclops played was definitely the one that was most innovative, you would say.
Okay, now, as we start to approach what can be sort of Cyclops certifying themselves on the top spot, in the top position across this, and giving themselves the best angle and heads in towards, obviously, the playoffs, which is something where they've still got to get through that to get themselves locked in. But
yeah,
as we sort of get an idea here, and I know it's something from their play where they've said without saying, we're not doing all of our sort of A games because we've got obviously bigger competitions outside. We've got ourselves pretty comfortable in this league and in this situation. We can make a couple of mistakes at this point, but they haven't. They've still sort of, their raw skill and sort of attributes on how they play towards a map has been something that has just sort of driven them over their opponents.
Yeah, definitely so. And keep in mind, if they win this matchup, or even if they get 2 points, I believe, they could be confirmed for the 6 major as the second team in the entire world. Only Space Station Gaming so far in the NA scene has been confirmed. Besides that, no one just yet. Now, surely that Valkyrie camera has been spotted out, but they just don't seem to be caring too much about it now, as they're just moving through with that shield, trying to clear out that top floor. And smoke canisters will be used. Anaton will know that he is in a bit of a stucky place right now and needs to make sure that he's not going to get swung on by the smoke, trying to get another smoke canister in the box. And there's the grenades, and as the tracks are coming out now, it's Cyclops that try and desperately take control of the top floor.
Yeah, digging their way through as much as they can. The C4s are starting to try and pop from underneath. There's still one in the pocket of Valkyrie if they want to try and make that matter. But look at Anaton just driving down the back of the stairs, burning out those canisters. That's 2 gone this early. There's the first firefight that comes together, but neither is able to actually get the win. Soldier comes off a little bit better and had a little bit more of an idea on the angle there, as the Zolf suffers just a little bit more. Saw the tail of a fleeing Valkyrie as she pulled her way out of the site itself, but it's Tomorrow that finally opens it up. The run out onto Gatorada, I believe, on the front face. Canos goes next and finds Black Ray as a bit of a shutdown here. They've lost that Habana entry, which means that anything from the pillar side is going to be much trickier, and you assume that's where that run out from the outside came through. It's going to have to be a drive of Anaton inside the site to buy them a little bit of space, but with none of the solidity that comes on the backside, it's a pickup there for Sayora. Now, Anaton is spraying with the pistol, but suddenly Talon has entirely rebuffed this approach. 20 seconds, and Suzuki has pretty much everything else left to do. The canister pops off on the side, has the diffuser in hand, but you see where Talon's positioned. You assume you know how this one is going to end. They have the angle, the swing out width. They have 5 seconds. They can't even get into the site in that time. So the first round goes to Talon.
Almost blows himself up with a gun 6. Of course, does not do enough damage in Talon. They're going to be able to get their first round out. For a second there, it looked really good for Cyclops. They had the complete self-control. They almost basically cleared out the entire side. However, then lost 2 players down to some of these roamers. Unable to shut them down, unable to get the plan down, whilst they still had the 5 players available to them. That's going to be a first round won by Talon. First of, hopefully for them, many, as they still have the opportunity of creeping into the top 4. Of course, number 2, 3, and 4 will be going to the APAC playoffs, where the number 2, 3, and 4 of APAC South will also be present together with the top 2 from the South Asian Nationals. In the past, it's been Union Gaming and Mercenaries that always managed to qualify around. I believe Union is no longer, so Mercenaries should be the ones to qualify either way. The thing that Cyclops is playing for securing their number 1 spot. They have the opportunity of doing that today, even if they lose, because Fnatic will still play against Guts. Now, Fnatic is the only team that still has an opportunity of... No, actually, Cyclops need a point. If they get a point, they should be safe, because then they have 3 points advantage over Damwon, and then Fnatic need to lose or get only 1 point themselves as well. So that would be the way for them to secure themselves in that spot. Like an outright loss could still mean that Damwon Kia has the opportunity of overtaking them. So there is still definitely something on the line. They're not secured for the 6th major yet. They do need a win. Ooh. And that is almost the entry kill coming in for Cyclops.
Well, they know that he's around there, but Canos, he stuck it out, and he just gets a sort of freebie there against Suzu C. They'd given the impression that they were going to go for something wide there, and they'd popped that window quite late, and here, I guess, Talon are rewarded for the sort of confidence of being like, well, surely they think we're going to leave this now if they've already popped bullets through, and stuck themselves in. Got an early pickup, got an early removal there. It's the sledge gone. You lose those frags, but you've still at least got 4 across the pockets of Gatorada and Anaton. They still have enough to build their approach here at the verticality that might be a bit of a cost, but you know, they have the breaching charges in the pocket of Black Gray if they go for the big rotation. Sierra is suffering just behind the bakery, but somehow swings out, gets 1 before they get shot down. The Echo drone was causing problems. The spray through the wall was 2. Selma is finally starting to pop open and get them a little bit more angles, but look at this. Talon is reaffirming themselves around towards Small Bake.
And the thing is, there's not that much control here for Cyclops. They should pick up the first kill, but there's still so much utility left for Talon. Talon are playing this perfectly for now. Scannis to come in, picks up a beautiful kill onto Gator. Drop him down for now. Leave only the one member in the meantime left inside of the bakery. It's only up to Anaton. Picks up the first one to get it going. Still needs to find 3, however. One of them is on that top floor. One of them is behind the shield in the freezer. But that is Canas going for a quick rotation down the brown stairs. Able to hold down, of course, the entire northern hallway is that.
Still with the Echo drones as well. If anything Anaton has, it's time, but with not much health and no grenades left, it's going to have to be that combination with guns as well. Trying to get the read on the first, but Talon isn't overextending their hand. They played it aggressively on the opener, but then they've set themselves up with this angles. They know where he is, they know where he's trapped, and now that they have, obviously, the Jaeger playing towards the side of the coach as well, they're having that massive width. Anaton found a bit of a creep through. Might not know about the man on the other side of this hot-hopped wall. Pre-fired just below him. And Tomorrow is able to swing back up and get the 2nd round for Talon.
They knew as well the Yokai drone was right around the corner. They knew exactly who was going to be pushing in from that side. And Talon are leading 2-0 on their defense. Cyclops not able to find much success yet on their attack. First round was actually going quite well until they started losing members. They basically cleared out everything they had to. All they needed to do was just commit to a plant and have the verticals ready. And now changes again on the board. No more Maverick. We do see a Nomad coming out for now at least. 6 picks coming out. Warden will be brought in. That's Talon thinking about the fact that they could potentially go for either a smoke plant or they might 6-ping in and a Ying, because we know Cyclops. That is something they would love to do if they get the opportunity to. But they might have to, well, put themselves into 2nd gear now, because Talon are so far perfectly denying whatever it is that Cyclops tries to bring. And they do still need to get a point to secure themselves. Well, it's not even a point. Like, they need to get 1 point and then just as many as Fnatic does today. That is how they managed to secure themselves. Fnatic plays right after this, so Fnatic will be watching this game as well, and if Cyclops lose this all outright, it will be a draw, which would be won by the head-to-head that Cyclops has, but again, no confirmed 6 major spot. That is on the line. That is what they could be saving strats for, because, you know, we had a little bit of a discussion. We talked about it with Hybrid, the coach, and he was smiling. He wasn't very, you know, he might have been trying to hide it. It might have been a poker face. It might have been something from the side, you know, trying to bait it. It definitely seems like they are assuming they will be going to the 6 major. And at this very point, they have every right to assume, because they're locked in top 4. They're literally a couple of points away from making it, but they do still need to close it out.
Cafe is always a tricky approach, and I think that's something that we're seeing here from Talon leading on their sort of defenses. They're making it very uncomfortable for Cyclops. Cyclops seem that sort of strange mix right now, where they are being quick, as we're seeing there with that control of the nade, and as we saw CAG punish before, but they're being a bit sort of, I guess, lost when they're trying to actually isolate players and isolate the plays of Talon. They've been trying to shepherd them into these situations which you're supposed to sort of do in Cafe, and they haven't been able to find success in doing it. They haven't been able to sort of get their hands wrapped around Talon players before Talon has seemingly refurbished, reassigned itself, and struck back. And getting the opener here and not being sort of stuck and punished for it is a bold play, but so is that soldier. Last second, sees the barrel of the gun, swings around and sprays, but the MPX unfortunately doesn't have as many bullets in its pocket as Aziz is able to find CAG. In the meantime, they're actually able to take something out. The Nomad's gone. We saw some air jabs go down at least, but as the pings come through pretty consistently, they're going to try and stick it tomorrow. Gets shot down on the rotation around the backside. The C4 underneath just goes a little bit wide. The movement and the fresh plant pot gets Canos back up to the top, but they're going to stick it. And that's going to put them in a pretty tricky situation. Just lying down on the diffuser to try and offer it the cover that they can.
Using a little trade there to provide a bit of extra cover as Aziz just managed to rotate back up the white stairs as well. Wants to go inside the freezer. Canis will be able to take down Black Ray. Brings it back to a 2-on-2 post-plant situation, but still the one man on the roof. Having the opportunity of going for some great angles as Canis try to go for the defuse there. Will be shot from the skylight window any second now. No, actually, not even. But manages to get himself into the freezer. Jumps out to rotate. Is not going to be able to get the kill to Gadarada. And he will close it out. It's Cyclops that will be fighting back at least with a round. And if they manage to get 2 or even 3, it is still considered a good half for them, even though their start was kind of sloppy.
Yeah, and I think that was the sort of play that I was alluding to, was they were trying to go quick, but the structure in terms of their take was sort of missing a little bit. I know we've already commented on and highlighted the fact that they're doing very well and they're secured for things. So at this point in the season, you will see teams that are in their position pull the gas off a little, because now they're focused towards other challenges. Now they're focused towards other big things. It's not that they're, you know, still not playing the game, never. But at the same time, it's, okay, well, you know, we've got all this other stuff we need to focus on. We've got to sort of take our pace with all of this. And here, I think it's most apparent because Cafe is a hefty play space. Cafe is a hefty map. And that sort of caution, that sort of disjointedness was more obvious here than it would have been on other maps like Club or Lake Coast, especially where things like that get a little bit less punished.
Definitely so. And right now, Talon going for yet another setup. They have the lead still. Only a single round for now, but the lead is a lead. Set to rerun that top floor. I'm going back to first floor, which has been unlocked by now. Soldier going for a bit of a pre-fire, hoping to take care of some of these drones, and surely will be found out to be tossing out a camera because there's a drone right behind him, and it will be 2. Now, if this gets spotted on that drone, I believe there is no one actually watching on the side of Cyclops. They would have been aware that there is 2. One of them gets found. Second one could still be up, but it seems like they are well aware and they're looking for it.
Yeah, they're making sure they can't get punished with the run out that obviously did strike them before. Gator is the first to suffer a little bit of damage. They sneak in, but look at that. Yellow pinged and dropped instantly. A great catch underneath, whether they assumed it was the site or not. The grenade bounces around to the backside. Goodbye. Soldier taken out, and that's the second one in the pocket, ready to go to the back corner, but nobody is home. They're able to find themselves slipped out of there. Talon, 2 roamers, both punished. And that's also one of those C4s off the board. Aziz is wide, looking for the potential of any damage that can be struck on anyone that might be on those windows, but nothing is revealed, nothing is sort of pulled into a place where they could really put some damage down. Ayagata yet again is suffering scraps and scrapes, but nothing that is otherwise going to take him out of this gunfight, as they can still formulate themselves. And this pace, this skill at closing down those loose players, this is what we sort of didn't see in the first rounds, but it's good to see Cyclops have sort of woken up into this game.
Definitely so. They have that 2-minute advantage now, and still 1:30 left on that clock. The Twitch drone will be trying to take out some of the utilities you saw on the top of your top left of your screen there, just to make sure that a breach can come through at any given moment. Of course, Cigar under control as well. Aziz, in the meantime, with the flank, has good trigger discipline, will be able to not get the double. The 180 from Suzu C is going to lock him out. Still managed to get one, though. Black Ray drops, but the 2-minute advantage stays, for now, in the hands of Cyclops.
It was very close to being a play that could have entirely turned this round on its head, but shut down just before they could finish off. An Ash who now finds herself on 25 health, with 2 smoke canisters still to try and push through, and Ayagata already suffering 2. They know that they've got to try and be a bit cautious on this approach. The canisters go out from Anaton towards the default plant, and the rotation possibility. There's a canister that's popped in response and revenge. The long arm on the next goes towards the default plant spot as well. They know they have to sort of play against it, but it's Ayagata on the far side that gets the lockout, leaving just Tomorrow creeping in the movement of their own smoke, but they don't quite see through it before they get seen through it.
And a spot there, just a little bit more vision coming out from the attacker. Of course, not having to be in that smoke has the opportunity to, of course, see those feet just a little bit closer. And we find ourselves in the 2-2. The even split is back. We are drawn up. Talon will temporarily hop back down towards the 7th place, as they would have been able to find themselves in 5th if they would have continued what they have started. So far, unfortunately for them, Cyclops is starting to battle back. Maybe you can say with a bit more of a normal approach, a more meta setup that is being shown, as the Nuck now is making its reappearance with Cyclops. Side will probably be going to the bottom floor. No, actually, reading room is what we see. As we barely see. This is probably just on our side.
So, in about 10 or 15 seconds,
we can see.
We'll be able to see again. I've just been told by production. There! Ooh,
oh,
there,
oh. Yeah, you guys don't see this, but
you guys don't see this,
right
but we
now.
currently can't have the feed. I promise that we would be giving expert analysis right now.
Definitely so.
You'll just have to believe us as we almost get back into cafe. 2-2. Hey, we're back. 2-2. We find ourselves sort of angling towards a return for form for Cyclops. They've stepped up a gear. I think that's the main thing here. They were a little bit sleepy, a little bit lackluster coming into this. The caution now being applied. The same way we saw someone punished from that exact peak before, where they just sort of threw themselves into the open. This time, they're aware, they're attuned to what is going on, and they're making sure that they aren't punished again. It's a bit of a woe for Talon right now, a team that's obviously trying to fight their way up from that mid-table, especially when we're seeing teams like C9 able to pull a victory just sort of beneath them. They know that if they want to have a hope of battling their way to the top, they've got to take this point, because Fav stumbled earlier. Fav couldn't quite secure the points themselves. Guts are coming up, but Guts coming up against Fnatic. So although it's a tough game, it still, with 2 Playdays left, becomes a necessary game to try and draw points from. Because if anything, this is a team that's already set in stone, and they might be a little bit more able to be pushed around.
Definitely so, and as Suzu C goes down, as the entry for Talon. This time around, Tomorrow himself will be quite low. Sonara will be taken care of by Galorada. Brings him back to a 4-4, and thus we keep on trading. Side is under some pressure already, though. We have some people on the windows. We have some people watching for potential runouts, and as there might be a thought of one of these players to go for it. It was Aziz that just punched the door. He was getting his hat taken out. A lot of the angles being watched as Anaton, that is on that flank watch, as Tomorrow now is going to go for the long way around. Will be going for the run out. There's no one repelled up, but he gives away his position, and that means that he might be hunted down. Any of these Cyclops members that might have an opportunity to hunt him down.
That's it. He's exceptionally low, but they still have the body balance, and as long as you're up moving with a gun in your hand, you can cause problems. Mute being removed is a bit of a loss as the spray comes around onto Black Grey. They'll have the impression that somebody saw where they were. Digging their way all the way across the bar here. It gets them entirely towards the front of the firefight, waiting for a little bit of the destruction to come through. It does, but it doesn't quite connect with them. They're safe to keep applying the pressure that they want, and look at the isolation that they've now put Aziz in. Oh, a great idea that a split second before would have probably netted a kill, and unfortunately for him, he has to just try and keep slipping away, keep pulling back. But the time that we're now on, 30 seconds, they're still trying to burn utility. They've still got to try and put the pressure onto the site itself. It's been great time wasting here.
Definitely so. Black Ray now on the flank watch as well, but doesn't quite know if he wants to stay on or not. A Mute Gemmer will be stopping the Selma from actually exploding. A Soldier is close on the side. There you have it. Tomorrow will be able to pick up Anaton, and Black Ray still worried about the potential flank to come through. It's a man advantage now for Talon. It's not much. It has to make do, and it makes it to 2. As the kills will keep on coming down. Only 5 seconds left.
That's it, 5 seconds. It's a 2 versus 2, looking to try and stick the diffuser, and they've just got to try and hope that they can pick up the guns from the other side. The spray
Oh, no
round,
way!
But Nook swings onto the piece, and they somehow stick it. Lost a firefight that should have been theirs. A quad for Gatorada now on the top of the boards. A post-plant situation. Canos, who has been effective this game, has to be twice that if they want to try and pull this back together. Takes care of a Gemini, which will reveal little bits of information. Sprays through towards the body on mining, but look at this. Another CAG body has gone to the top floor. They're up, watching, rotating. There's the fight against the Iana, dropped. And now it's just down to Ayagator. Has the vertical, has only about 3 seconds that they need to waste. This is theirs to take.
He won it. He won it. He just wasted a little bit of time. He missed the kill. He's not going to get it either, but it is going to be the diffuser that runs out. And Cyclops that are able to turn it around after being 2 rounds down. They're now a round up suddenly. And their attacks are looking very good. 3 rounds won. It's considered to be a very good half already, and now they have the opportunity to make it a 4-2 split. Or potentially push it through a 3-3 from Talon. We see the glass coming out, might be 6-picked as, of course, we enter that stage now. Gatorada doing some insane work. Almost picked up the ace there, and there you have it. Glass being 6-picked away. It's not being utilized now. They want to secure this 6 major Mexico spots. It's the Nook that comes out because it has been quite successful. They have managed to sneak in into many places. If you look on the left, they're all just moving about, staying energized. Talent. They know what is waiting for them. They had a good start, but they need to salvage whatever is left in his health now. They need to make sure that they win this bottom floor. Win the bottom floor hold. Otherwise, you're going up against Cyclops on their defense, who then will only need to win, well, let's say 2 to 3 rounds to put themselves up in an even better position.
Now, the hold that we did see down here from Talon was very good, but it was unpunished, I think, at first. They were able to strike on the entrance. They had a lot of bold about their play. They were re-rotating their way down towards Coat, as I called, and to the bottom of red. They made sure that anything that Cyclops tried to formulate around the bakery wasn't comfy. But since then, we've seen Cyclops wake up. As I said, they're being more aware, more attuned, and more prepared for what Talon are putting forward. Hey, look at this. They're not rotating the same way that they were punished last time. Hey, look at that.
No way.
It doesn't matter. Canos and Aziz. Aziz get the opener.
They do indeed, and that is again a 2-man opener here for Talon that they should be able to close out this round with. But still Cyclops are up against it. You can really never count them out. It's Black Ray, Anaton and Ayagator, the ones that are left. On the side, the Banshee gets disabled. The jump in comes in from Ayagator. Will be picked up by Canis though. Double kill from him. He's only up to the 2 members left on Cyclops, and one of them on the side of Talon being inside a Coat Jack. There is also a bunch of Banshees that will slow them down, and a Black Eye will give away all the information necessary. Beautiful shot from Anaton, starts it off. Still 4 to find.
A lot of work left to do, and I liked the change in the ideas, but Talon, I think they realized now before the half that they needed to step it up a little, and they made sure that they responded the same way they did in the opener. But here, Cyclops are steadily clawing their way back round, punishing some of the slight wide positioning. They've got control of, obviously, 2 big core points that were part of the hold before. But with the loose players, with the pings still coming through, Talon decided they want to stack themselves up entirely in the site itself. See if they can build behind the idea of trades instead of just sort of throwing it to the wind and getting the loose positioning that they had that worked, to be fair, very well for them before. This time they're going, well, hang on, we can't play that game again. Soldier with the C4 cracks open Anaton, who now has to kind of divert to a different plan. Couldn't quite pop off the X-Kairos. Look at this. There's a body on the short window. There's a shotgun close on the left. One of them was going to get it. Tomorrow is the one that does.
It's going to be very hard for him to win that situation, and this Talon are able to bring it back to a 3-3. Decent half. Knowing how good Cyclops can be. Big worry, however, now is that they will be on the defense themselves, which is statistically the favored side of Cafe. Now, as I pull up the exact stats,
Get the numbers.
as I'm getting the numbers,
Give the people what they want.
I don't know if they want numbers,
Well,
but
they're gonna get
regardless,
them.
they're going to get them.
And they're
going
gonna
to
be
have
happy
to
with them.
stick up with it. Season 2021, we have Cafe Dostoyevsky.
Yeah.
You can take a guess.
Can I?
You can.
What
if
am I
you
guessing?
want. Is it attack-sided or is it defense-sided?
I'm going to say defense-sided.
Okay, by how much do you think it's defense-sided?
58%.
That is quite a lot. No, it's
I know.
actually 49.1% attack and 50.9%
50.9.
defense. So a 3-3 split is actually pretty decent, we have to say. That is not something that is like too uncommon if you look at those statistics. But it could also, of course, be a little bit skewed due to some of the teams that have played it. So we'll see if that indeed will be the case, or if Cyclops are going to be able to run away with the victory here.
Talking of aggression out the door, hey, get her out of. Okay,
Going for a quick run out.
just a quick check, just a quick bait, just a quick fake,
Yeah,
as was pointed out there.
exactly what Medic said.
Perfectly, medics called it, because they were trying to bait the idea of a camera going out on that side, hopefully waste some time. Obviously, they've got an IQ on the board, so Canos can get it cleared, but it's still precious time. Not going to keep the camera there, though. That's otherwise going to go somewhere else. Goes out wide, and whether that's one that gets detected or not, you can see the movement. I think that was just picked up there by Sierra. Hey, look at this! They fell for the bait! They're going and trying to find the camera. They can't quite get the angle. They're not sure exactly where it went. Oh, it's perfect.
It's parfait, as our French friends would say, I think.
On Bastille Day. Of all days.
Maybe production will start shouting in my ear now for
Bonjour.
butchering the pronunciation. But
Bastille Day.
14 juillet. That is why we're all dressed up, for those
Yeah.
of you wondering.
Honestly, Des is Napoleon. I didn't know I needed it in my life, but it's so perfect.
It's so fitting for some reason.
We need
I
to
don't
send
know.
as many photos of that to Bartosz as possible, I think.
We should definitely let him abuse it.
All right, they are waiting, holding, and sort of held up at the moment in time. They want to put the pressure onto the hatches, but as utility starts to get burnt from either side, nobody has unfortunately come off the worse for either sort of bit and a blow. And you're looking at the two C4s that are still in pocket as well. They decided and opted to go with the smoke canisters first to kind of, I guess, hope that they can catch them on the drop rather than sort of, you know, burn out their own utility, burn out their time. They have a lot of stuff in pocket, but it's actually making use of it. I mean, what, 6 breaching charges between obviously the AQ and Ash to see if they can try and get some use of it isn't the biggest draw for this sort of site, but at the same time, you know, it's first sight. How do you know where you sort of come in? The pop on the mirror window there is going to make things a little bit more uncomfortable in that back line.
That's it for your first site. You need to make sure that you have a good kit that you can attack a lot of these sites with. And as the X-Scars are about to be put up, they have the right cover as well. There's no way that they're going to be able to cancel whatever is coming down on that mirror window. It will open up if a couple of X-Scars were used, but Cyclops very active on that bottom floor. They have 2 Nitro cells just playing at the bottom, waiting for them to toss them up if the plan would be to come down. One gets tossed outside, however, not dealing enough damage to even care on any of the Talon members. And with 25 seconds left, it's a jump out as well. They need to really start moving in now, Talon.
Gatterada get the opener there, and now he's instantly picked back up as they have to drive their way all the way down. Soldier takes over Lumber, and Ayagator takes over underneath now as Tomorrow has the lockdown on the top floor. 10 seconds, great take, and Lumber falls back into their pockets. Canos has the diffuser, but has to find some semblance of safety, and there it is, a 2 versus 1. Mirror is in a great clutch position here. They have the pings coming through. They have the swing onto the first. There is the second. Ayagator claws that one back round. What was a very late push almost came to promise, but not quite having the intel on that last body cost them just a little bit too much.
Definitely so. For a second there, I thought, oh, is there enough bullets in that Vector? Because it only has 26, of course. Not that many. A lot of them are used on the first kill because it's a bit of a pea shooter. And as quickly go for a timeout.
Just a little.
So we got a drop. That means you're going to go back to us, the people that are dressed up, because Bastille Day, 14 Juliet. If you didn't know, whenever there's a holiday,
Yeah,
we do crazy stuff.
we do.
We do, because we're crazy like that.
Some of us.
Some of us.
Milos and Jess, I think, are too cool. They were wearing a
Yeah.
sash and a beret at the beginning, but we'll win them round into dressing up with us. It's always funny when one of us is on the analyst desk. Because when
And
it's
the
like
other
this,
two
it's
aren't.
like, oh, everybody's dressed up. And then it's over there, it's like, oh, one of them is crazy.
Why is one of them doing this?
So we have our tech timeout that's being used here. Obviously, the disconnect came through just before the sort of the turn of the half. It's 4-3. They've been able to pull their first bar in, but it was close for Talon for what was a very sort of
Yeah.
slow approach. What was a Talon that couldn't quite, I think, get to grips with what was going on. They were taking care of the utility, the mirror window, and then the mirror window went one on a piece, and you could see that Cyclops were prepped with C4s underneath, but I think that sort of drive, that 3-2-1 goal, worked well for them. I'm curious to see how it works on a site where they've got to do potentially a lot more map work if they're attacking sort of the middle floor and they've got to take over the top. Is that going to leave Talon enough time? Which was something that almost suffered Cyclops. If they're on kitchen as well, similar story. If they're playing above, you've got to make sure that you clear out mining and that sort of area as well. It might turn into a cost, and that's a concern.
Now, I'm not quite sure, but I think we saw a timeout called by Cyclops, but it might have been followed up by an instant tactical timeout from the side of Talon, because it looked like a technical on the side of Cyclops. Someone dropped, need to get them back in. Not sure if we can get confirmation on that. Would be very great. Either way, if they did, it's understandable. They lost that lead. They're on their attack. They had a good spot. They just didn't have the information to shut down where that mirror was coming from in the end. And these are small things that sometimes can be fixed if you quickly have a little talk to your coach. Because right now they are very close to Cyclops, and they want to keep it that way. They don't want them to run away now and let this end in a 7-3. That would make all the hard work done in the first half undone.
Yeah, and I think that's the sort of big issue here is Cyclops, they're a team that when you catch them a bit unaware, you can really drive it home. They're a team that will go wide and they'll go sort of rampant. But that lack of structure at times, or that seeming lack of structure, can be something where if a team is able to read that and if a team's able to take advantage of that on a map like Cafe where, you know, if you're bringing a Nomad, which is Aladdin on the board and you're sort of looking up the top of the stairs, that rotation round wouldn't have been able to have happened by the mirror at the end there. They would have had a little bit more sort of a collapse. They would have had a little bit more control. It is possible to punish them in those sort of moments. Obviously, it's easiest on that floor, but it's also that worry as well, because when Cyclops build up momentum, they sometimes struggle to stop.
There is definitely, and we're getting underway now. It is going to be back into the game. Ayagator managed to join in. And I'm still wondering if it was a tech timeout called right after. On the side of Talon. All right, the castle will go to the castle. Very, very 300 IQ 6-pick we just saw. Now, it is kind of a thing, right? Because I've always said it. Why would you not use the 6-pick if it's available? Because you have the operator reveal phase, you see 5 operators, these will be brought. One of them can 6-pick out. They do not get to see which one 6-picks out, and they do not get to see which one is the addition that gets picked in with the 6-pick. I think if you want to bring a castle, why not hide it? Of course there's going to be a sledge in the board, so there's always that bit of a counter. Then instead, why don't you hide the Ela, for example? Let them walk in unknowingly and suddenly get Grismotted if they want to take a gunfight, and they'd lose it as a result, you know? There's these little small things you can hide, which could be very helpful.
Talon, I love the way you struck before, but again, my concerns and curiosities are paced towards pace. We saw the IQ was baited and wasted a lot of time early on this time round. They've obviously moved away from that. They've gone for a little bit more of a direct line here. Obviously, it's a different site and a different setup of operators, but I think it's one of those things that is a little bit promising more for Talon. It gives them a little bit more that they can swing behind and try and drive themselves directly towards the possibilities of a site here. You can see Alligator is above and Anaton is on the very top looking out the hatches. There was a bit of a precedence of we need to try and control this, so the sledge is on a bit of busy work here. Was concerned there and was going to try and shoot on the rotation of the angle to see if they could catch them just heading down. Didn't go that way, but it was a bit of a clever idea that wasn't rewarded in the way that it could have been.
Definitely so. There's Talon. They need to strike. They need to strike now. They need to keep it up. And Anaton just waiting, just peeking around, just hoping to find someone on the outside. And Alligator active around a window as well. They hope to bring that fight to the outside, but Talon so far not really letting them, and that's the head being spotted out. Just unfortunate timing though, as Aziz is about to move into the bakery, will be called out as well. Like, hey, there was someone at the bakery just now. Makes a punch hole that has been heard by the castle, and Anaton trying to find some attention to the outside, which is just not getting. Talon completely ignoring whatever he's trying to bring.
Though he might be rewarded in just a second. They're playing this cautiously, but I don't think they know the danger that's on the top floor. Suddenly, as the sledge starts to work, you can see a lot of bodies start to try and come down. There's a bit of a rotation around the brown stairs, around the backside of pillars. Alligator is going to pick up sticks and look for a different angle. They've realized, well, they don't want this hatch, so I'm going to make sure that they don't get the wall that they want. Blackray gets the opener. Aziz gets some revenge and gets a great double there inside. Prep now. With a minute on, they've been able to build themselves some momentum. All of the Cyclops bodies are off site. They have entirely lifted themselves away from it. They're going to sort of say, well, if you want to charge in, we still have these angles. You've got to get rid of us, or you've got to try and mad dash your way through. In terms of the pockets, they're just going to drone, try and get the intel, but with two smokes in the pockets of the Twitch, they could become very big for this push.
It could definitely be, but it's just not enough space potentially to move in. If you see, they open up the entire wall on the side as well. Soldier now will be moving in, digging himself in deep as well, trying to go potentially for a plant as Anaton goes down. Blackray comes around the corner. Alligator is not going to be able to take the challenge properly, and that means we're in a post plant now. However, Cyclops basically have them all surrounded, and that is Canis to go down as well. Brings it back to a 2-on-3.
Creeping their way back round to the small bake with Soldier holding firm inside the site itself. They're just trying to see if they can isolate one of these players, but they've been very clever in getting a lot of width here. They have to creep through. They're stuck. Oh no. What a moment to find out that that isn't something that's an easy pass. Gets the first, gets dropped by the second. From sink to coffee, we find ourselves back to a 4-4.
And that means Talon stay close for now. As you just saw, the entire wall in between the site has been removed. So their setup was definitely focused around a potential retake, which they just weren't allowed to get. As we are heading for another quick pause.
Hopefully.
As you could see in the chat, this is a technical. It's not a tactical, as you can see right up here. Pause with a bit of a wrench.
That's actually in the studio. It's floating.
The studio, yeah, it's floating right there.
It drops from...
Yeah, there's little wires that you don't see, but they're definitely there.
I don't think they believe us. Hey!
You could try. You don't have to.
You can try. No, okay. What I do believe there was... You know, when I said, hey, Cyclops are a team that can be punished if you try and direct line and ignore some of their external play, that's what sort of happened. I'm not going to say that they explicitly 100% ignored it. We saw the Twitch almost get domed as they went for the entrance onto the bakery. But at the same time, for all the time that they'd wasted before trying to get control of Cyclops' external game and looking towards the Valcams, looking towards whatever, they dedicated themselves more towards the site this time. They made sure that what they were spending their time doing was opening up the back on the freezer side, opening up the front on the bakery side, and it led them to this position where Cyclops were forced into an uncomfortable situation.
Definitely the double kill from the Twitch inside of Prep. is what won them the round. You have to say it like that. The castle took out the Maestro. That was both the side players gone. The rest was set up for vertical control and pressure and support and potentially to go for a retake. Now, all of that got tossed out of the window when you lose your 2 side players suddenly due to, you can almost say hero play. It's not hero play, of course, but you are the hero after that play. So, you know, it's the thing I'm going to be putting up. Now, Cyclops, 4-4. They are 2 rounds away of getting that point. With that point, they will be able to cover off Damwon Kia. But then they still need to hope that Fnatic will not be able to pick up the win today. If Fnatic lose and Cyclops gets a point, they are secured. If Cyclops wins this game outright, then it's also going to be a confirm.
Hey, you can take your time. I think we've got a little bit of time to sort of go over the exact numbers and how things have started to fall. Obviously, with the way the day started, this was the day that secured teams. This was the day that sort of gave teams like obviously DK have been able to now, Damwon Kia, they've got themselves secured in this sort of position. Fav is battling out. And I guess, okay, it's me saying this is the day things get secured. It's the second to last play day, which is, you know, a day when you expect these things to be secured.
At some point, yes.
But at the same time, we have a bit of space.
We have a bit of space. And APAC, of course, has a Playday less compared to, for example, NA. And there's also 2 Playdays less compared to EU. So it's logical that around now it starts to lock in. Of course, NA already locked in their first major contender. Last week, I believe? Space Station Gaming it was. Let me check.
Yeah, Space Station Gaming are the only team that...
So far. And
so
Cyclops
far.
can join them right now.
Cyclops could. It could just be those 2. I mean, it won't be. We're going to add a lot of other teams.
Of course, we're going
towards
to add a lot of
Mexico.
teams.
But it could
It wouldn't be a major with just 2 teams. You know? It'd be very minor.
I think it would be a great series, though.
It could be a very
What if we
great
just made it like a best of 20?
and infinite overtime on every single map.
Yeah.
And we add every map.
Every map.
In the pool, even the ones that are not in the competitive one.
Yeah, and we also have the old versions of maps as well.
Yeah, we can also add those in.
So
maybe, potentially, I don't know.
Original.
We might be pushing it here, but
original Vela, original Hereford.
I like old Hereford.
I think old Hereford.
It's fun. It's
was
a lot of nostalgia as well.
I think that's the thing about old Hereford was
it's the first map you ever play. It's the first one you load up in
the first map you ever play, and then out of all the map redesigns, it felt like Hereford 2.0, which is cool.
But it didn't have the same.
But it's not Hereford, you know?
Yeah.
Hereford 1.0 and Hereford 2.0, I think, could both exist in the game.
They could both exist in tandem, that's for sure. There's Talon. Wanting to push on here on Cafe. It's a bit of aggression coming out from the side of Cyclops, right around the bar here. Cigar. Piano. Hoping to pick up one of these kills, hoping to get the entry, because we know how important it can be. And Aziz, well, with that Twitch, has been a nuisance, you can say. Let's get the mirror window this time. Get shut down beforehand. There's another one on the top floor as well, but the rotate will be on, and that is due to the fact that the side, of course, is on that bottom floor. And Cyclops also know. Last time around, they hit the side directly. They weren't really trying to go for a top floor clear, and we cannot really afford that to happen again. So an extra member to drop is always going to be a good idea, as long as you can still hold on to that top floor control. And there is also still 2-3 players still on that top floor that can try and hold for as long as they possibly can. And with a lot of utility support, that will surely be successful. It's going to be Talon to try and put up some pressure here, as Suza C will be able to get the entry.
Well, can they now try and build around the loss of Zephyr, a loss of Soldier who's been able to drive through? Talking of, there's a man that just gets entirely driven through, cannot quite connect with the second, but almost finds the fight on the third instead. Unfortunately for them, they're locked off, and they did a bit of damage to both, but it's a player who has consistently been that driving force, consistently been the one that's able to sort of bite their way through. Canos has also consistently been great at getting the second, getting the fill-in on the Revenge. I don't know if he's really been too big in terms of the entry, but he's definitely been a big impact in a lot of these rounds.
It definitely has been. As he, of course, on the F2 has been able to open up massively as Canos gets yet another kill. The top floor control has now been forfeited. The stairs are about to fall. We do have 2 players near. The hatch could be played as well. Grenades are being tossed in, and Galarada gets an extra chem out to cover his back. It is going to be... Oh, no, where you get? Oh, that was a Gemini replicator. I got scared there for a second. It's Canos that gets picked up by the actual Nitro. Though there's 10 seconds left on that clock. They need to go for the plants, and it will be done in default. Tomorrow's there to cover. It's Galarada that needs to start moving in. It's the flank from Gator to come in as well. There's 45 seconds and a retake on the board.
Okay, a 2 versus 2. They've pulled this together, but there's a triple, and there's the last that's sprayed towards by the Vector. Galarada is going to go for the defuse. They're going to keep the cover on the door itself. They're going to make sure that they go for the swing there. Peppering bullets, saw the head, but they're out of time. There's a quad for Gator, and there's Cyclops pulling that back. It was almost well-driven back into the fight there by Talon, being able to sort of build from losing that first body, and the second was obviously, if you look at where they died, buried in the midst of that stair set.
It definitely was. That white stairs was super important in what was going on. I got confused there for a second. Either way, 5-4. Cyclops 1 round away of securing their position from Damwon Kia. Securing themselves top 2 finish, because that's what it is. They can secure themselves a top 2 finish with this next round, and if they manage to get to 7, they will secure themselves the 6 major. That's what's on the line. It is a trip to Mexico, and after 6th Invitational, they'll be very, very hungry to do well.
Yeah, I think that was the thing about, you know, obviously SI was amazing in that it was the first international event in a long period of time. It was great because we got tastes of things that we had sort of forgotten the flavors of, which is the beauty of international siege. The beauty of seeing all these regions that are often sometimes claustrophobic, none more so than APAC as a whole, because it's, you know, as it was put by some of the teams, during that time in SI, the ones that could travel over, they went from having, you know, 2 or 3 tier 1 quality scrims a week to multiple a day. And that difference, that sort of drive that other sort of regions get to take for granted, I think Cyclops were still my favorite APAC introduction to the rest of the world at SI, because although they didn't sort of make it all the way through and to the bigger stages, they scared a lot of other teams, and they played so confidently.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think they won a lot of hearts in the international stage with how they played, especially against BDS and Empire on that final day, where they managed to bring both of them to 8-7 in terms of score lines. Of course, losing it out, otherwise they would have been able to go through 2D groups. Unfortunately for them, it was both losses, and twice they got very close. Just simple 1 kills that could have completely tilted that match in its favor. But ever since, they have been absolutely dominating inside of APAC North, whereas Cloud9, their counterparts, have dropped off massively. There's a grenade there from Talon, not quite hitting the mark. The sneak in comes in from Aziz, who swapped the Twitch out for the Nuke. It's going to be successful.
Wow, hit that mid on the white stairs and waits for a bit more pressure to come across. Yora tries to pull a bit of a body away from the middle of the freezer there, but cannot quite connect the shots that they need to. The man hopped up just on the inside, is making the swing impossible, so they need to have some pressure from the opposite corner and the new bulk side as well. Galarada is waiting for that Banshee to open up to try and get a swing on anyone that dares to get a little bit close, and if they see anything else, they'll swing onto that too. They have all of that awareness and all of that readiness for this pressure and this fate. It's still a bit early, but I think this is the longest that we've seen every single player up for a while, if that, and now it's seeing if they can actually build behind it. The grenade popped and bounced, doesn't quite connect with Galarada, who pulls back, but Anaton does connect with Soldier on the split side there. Another one pops back around, but cannot get rewarded, so instead they're going to rotate round towards the pillar side, potentially see if they can angle themselves up towards Newbalk.
4v5, second one to go down tomorrow gets confirmed, and Nazi still at the bottom of the yellow-white stairs. There's a grenade to be tossed in. That will confirm. Suzu C, the repel comes in from Canis, who will be able to pick up the double kill somehow himself as well, and Aziz on the bottom floor just lurking around. It's Anaton to finally strike back. Aziz to run up these red stairs to hopefully find a response. It's 35 seconds on that clock. He doesn't look to the right, gets taken care of. It's an own, and it's only up to Sayora now on the window. He's been here the entire round. Needs to find 3 kills. Doesn't even start off with 1. He gets taken out by Black Ray in the FMG. And that is going to be Cyclops securing themselves 2nd place at least by locking out Damwon Kia, as they're no longer able to reach that top spot now. That means that next up is Fnatic, and they have the opportunity to lock them out for 2 more of these rounds. That's it. 2 more rounds, they can lock them out themselves. If it goes to overtime, it will be up to Fnatic to either lose or get equal amount of points here today.
It's all on the wire.
It's all on the wire.
All on the wire, all on the drive. Canos, talking of, has been exceptional today. And I think that's one of the things here about this Talon team is we talked about them at the sort of beginning as being a team that can have these big moments, these big plays, and they have such a sharpness to them. And I think from where they were to where they're at now, they're still sort of formulating and reforming themselves. And
yeah.
It's just those connections, those little bits where...
Oh no, they got it as well. There was like 3 drones all around that drone hole. And it is, I believe it was Suzu that comes around, punches in the hole, and he's like, dance, my little puppets. I will take you out. And gets 2 drones and a Twitch drone in results. That is going to be quite painful for the defenders themselves. Attackers, I must say, as that is a lot of information suddenly gone. And also a bit of utility gone. That Twitch drone could be useful in taking care of small things. Even if it's just a proxy alarm, it is something that they might rely on the attack, on the defense, and suddenly it's no longer there. You don't know if it will handicap them any bit. Either way, this round could be the decisive factor. This round could be where Cyclops lock themselves in to the 6th major in Mexico. Twitch drones being tossed out will instantly be taken care of by Black Ray. Sayagata right around the corner on the brown stairs as well, that has the opportunity of picking up a kill. He looks like he might be the first one to get into a contest, but Tomorrow drops back down. Sayagata will follow just shortly. Goes down himself after Anazi. Now will be the first one to go for it. Picks up the kill to Black Ray, who only deals half worth of HP, but had no clue he was on the small bakery window. So a bit of missed information there on Cyclops' side. We're giving Talon an opportunity. And look at Ciora. He's about to sneak in. He's about to take the kill down onto the red stairs. He's being pressured from above. He's going to be forced to run in. That's a diffuser suddenly dropped in the middle of the site.
Great spray there from Anaton to secure it on the long range. The smoke canister pops off to buy them some more time. They're isolated on the bottom of the red stairs as a body comes on the left and the right shoulder. Can they find some semblance of safety? And Gatorada is able to get a solid wall up late, but not punished. Talon weren't quite in a position to try and strike back at that. Instead, they wanted to formulate themselves around here on the red corridor side as Canos has sort of crept that Gemini all the way up, pinging and says, "Get out of here, man. I'm busy fighting the real you." He's now trying to creep his way across here, concerned about the angles that might be held from above, but there isn't any such luck as of this moment in time. A long angle is perpetually held, but it's Suzu C that gets dropped. And 100% sure where that came from. Oh, now I am. Canos, who snuck his way in on the side of Prep, tries to double down, and look at this. Tomorrow, in the meantime, is pushing that pressure too. There's the swing, but there's the cover from the man inside Freezer.
Now they do. Returns the favor. Suzu C just got picked up by the Valkyrie. The Skeleton Key is about to come in. That could get some kills. No, he's not going to be able to find any. The team kill, however, with the Nitro Cell is going to turn it all the way into the potential round from Talon, but it's still a 2v1 situation. Anaton in the window. Sayagata could be coming up from behind at any second now. It is Cyclops to go to the 6th major. They take the win. They lock out Fnatic. They lock out Damwon Kia, and they qualify for the major to yet again play internationally.
In a round where they not only killed themselves with a C4, but a teammate as well, Cyclops in Cyclops fashion
definitely
get themselves over the line. Congratulations to the team that are securing so much quality and so much high caliber across themselves. They fought well, Talon, today, but only one team can progress. That is Cyclops.
Definitely so, and Cyclops with that, as just said, secured themselves 46 major. They really popped off this season, and with that, let's toss it over back to the desk.
Ladies and gentlemen,